Now speaking, Simona Jankowski, Vice President, Investor Relations. Nvidia held a conference call to discuss their financial results for the first quarter of fiscal 2024 on May 24, 2023. Jensen Huang, President and CEO, and Colette Kress, Executive Vice President and CFO, were in attendance. Nvidia made forward-looking statements based on current expectations that are subject to risks and uncertainties, and discussed non-GAAP financial measures. A reconciliation of these non-GAAP financial measures to GAAP financial measures can be found on their website. Now speaking, Colette Kress, Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer. On a year-on-year basis, non-GAAP operating expenses were down 8%. This quarter, the company generated $3.1 billion of cash from operations and returned $1.2 billion to shareholders through dividends and share repurchases. Q1 revenue was $7.19 billion, up 19% sequentially and down 13% year-on-year. Record data center revenue of $4.28 billion was up 18% sequentially and 14% year-on-year. Generative AI drove significant upside in demand for Nvidia products from cloud service providers, CSPs, consumer internet companies, and enterprises. GTC 2021 announced 4 major new inference platforms leveraging the Nvidia AI software stack: L4 Tensor Core GPU for AI video, L40 for Omniverse and graphics rendering, H100 NBL for large language models, and Grace Hopper Superchip for LLM and recommendation systems/vector databases. Gaming revenue of $2.24 billion was up 22% sequentially and down 38% year-on-year. Pro visualization revenue of $295 million was up 31% sequentially and down 53% year-on-year. Automotive revenue of $296 million was up 1% sequentially and up 114% from a year ago. GAAP gross margins at 64.6% and non-GAAP gross margins at 66.8%. Non-GAAP operating expenses were down 8% year-on-year. Company generated $3.1 billion of cash from operations and returned $1.2 billion to shareholders through dividends and share repurchases. Intel has held OPEX at roughly the same level over the past 4 quarters while working through inventory corrections in gaming and professional visualization. They returned $99 million to shareholders in the form of cash dividends, and have approximately $7 billion remaining under the share repurchase authorization through December 2023. For Q2 of fiscal 24, Intel expects total revenue of $11 billion, ±2%, with GAAP and non-GAAP gross margins of 68.6% and 70%, respectively, ±50 basis points. GAAP and non-GAAP operating expenses are expected to be $2.71 billion and $1.9 billion, respectively, with GAAP and non-GAAP other income and expenses and income of $90 million. GAAP and non-GAAP tax rates are expected to be 14%, plus or minus 1%. Capital expenditures are expected to be $300-$350 million. Goldman Sachs analyst Toshi Hari inquired, have the key drivers of data center revenue growth from April to July been identified, and what kind of sequential growth can your supply chain support beyond the July quarter? Colette Kress replied, we expect sequential growth between Q1 and Q2 driven by our generative AI and large language models. There is interest in both Hopper and Ampere architectures, and deep recommenders are driving growth in both computing and networking business. We have procured a substantial amount of supply for the second half to serve customer demand from across large enterprises, CSPs and consumer internet companies with visibility extending out a few quarters. Evercore IC analyst CJ Muse inquired, have there been any improvements in server acceleration for AI applications over the past quarter, and how is the company managing longer cycle times with partners such as TSMC to ensure lead times are met? Jensen Huang replied, I am in full production of both Ampere and Hopper, which are supercomputers with large language models integrated with guardrails, alignment systems, reinforcement learning, knowledge vector databases, and connection to search. This moment of technology coming together is what I call the iPhone moment, as it allows for the creation of amazing products and services like chatbots. Nvidia's supply chain flow includes 35,000 components such as GPUs, system boards, networking, fiber optics, transceivers, NICs, smart NICs, and switches. Accelerated computing has been a full-stack problem for 15 years, and generative AI has become the primary workload of data centers, making it energy efficient and cost-effective. We are now seeing a 10-year transition to recycle or reclaim the world's data centers and build them out as accelerated computing. The budget of data centers will dramatically shift from traditional computing to accelerated computing with smart NICs, smart switches, GPUs, and generative AI. Bank of America Merrill Lynch analyst Vivek Arya inquired, can visibility of the demand environment in the data center market lead to more competition in terms of custom ASICs, GPU solutions, or other kinds of solutions over the next 2 to 3 years? Will Q3 and Q4 see sequential growth in data center sales, or will they remain at the same level as? Colette Kress replied, we believe our supply for the second half of the year will be substantially larger than the first half. We are expecting to see demand from Q2 and plan on seeing something in the second half as well. Though we do not provide guidance, we anticipate a substantial increase in the second half compared to the first. Jensen Huang replied, Nvidia's value proposition is that they offer the lowest cost and total cost of ownership solution due to their expertise in full-stack engineering, distributed computing, 400 acceleration libraries, generative AI, and data center architecture. They have 5 data centers of their own, help companies build them, and have a delivery to operations time measured in weeks compared to other supercomputers which can take up to 1.5 years. This translates to higher throughput and the lowest possible cost. Wells Fargo Securities analyst Aaron Rockers inquired, have we seen the full monetization potential of software, considering the growing cloud service agreements and the AI enterprise software suite? Colette Kress replied, we have a substantial amount of software in our newest architecture products. We are providing customers with many different models to help them start their work in generative AI and accelerated computing, such as DGX Cloud. NVIDIA AI Enterprise is an important operating system for AI. We expect both the architecture and infrastructure to continue to grow, as well as the availability and monetization of the software. Jensen Huang replied, generative AI is rapidly growing in CSPs, for training models, refining models and deploying them. Colette mentioned that inference is now a major driver of accelerated computing due to the use of generative AI in multiple applications. For enterprises and industrials, a new stack of software is needed to complete tasks such as creating large language models, adapting them to proprietary uses, data alignment and high-performance computing. NVIDIA has created AI Foundations, AI Enterprise and Omniverse for this, each running in DGX Cloud Azure, GCP and Oracle. AI Enterprise is the world's only enterprise-safe and enterprise-supported GPU-accelerated stack with 4,000 different packages and constant patching. Omniverse is necessary for software-defined and robotic applications and industries. UBS analyst Timur Curry inquired, can you speak to the debate between InfiniBand and Ethernet, discussing the attach rate of InfiniBand solutions compared to compute side and if it is crowding out Ethernet? Also, why wasn't there a share buyback, despite having $7 billion on the share repo authorization? Colette Kress replied, we currently have $7 billion available for repurchases and no repurchases were made in the last quarter. We will continue to take advantage of opportunities for repurchasing in the future. Jensen Huang replied, InfiniBand and Ethernet are different networks that cater to different applications in data centers. InfiniBand had a record quarter with an exceptional roadmap and is expected to have a giant record year. It is designed for AI factories and can give up to 20% more throughput than Ethernet, making it effectively free. For multi-tenant cloud applications, Ethernet is the right answer. At Computex, Nvidia will announce a major product line for Ethernet-focused generative AI applications. Bernstein research analyst Stacy Rascon inquired, do inference and training workloads within generative AI differ in size, and if so, by how much? Jensen Huang replied, I am constantly training and processing data to create a vector database and build applications such as large language models, recommender systems, and vector databases. This contributes to the development of an intelligence factory which consists of hundreds of APIs that companies can connect into their workflows or use as an application. In the near future we will witness exponential growth in AI factories due to the end of Moore's law, with a heavy focus on generative AI and accelerated computing infrastructure such as GPUs, switches, and networking chips. This is estimated to account for most of the $1 trillion spent on data centers over the next 4 to 10 years. Morgan Stanley analyst Joe Moore inquired, have you seen an opportunity in large language models, and have the cloud customers been asking to reduce their cost per query significantly? Has this resulted in the launch of specialty inference products at GTC? How can you help customers get the cost per query down? Jensen Huang replied, building a large language model and distilling it down to medium, small, and tiny is key to enabling AI capabilities. The sizes of models differ, with the largest being the most versatile. Pre- and post-processing are essential components, as well as cloud-based and on-premise deployment. Dell and ServiceNow have partnered with Nvidia to create Project Helix and generative AI capabilities, respectively. J.P. Morgan Chase & Company analyst Harlan Sur inquired, have the data center networking business revenues grown in line with compute shipments since the Mellanox acquisition 3 years ago? What are you doing to unlock more networking bandwidth and meet increased compute complexity, data sets, and requirements for lower latency and better traffic predictability? Jensen Huang replied, I appreciate Harlan's understanding of NVIDIA's computing architecture. Our stack includes Docker, a networking stack, and Magnum.io, an acceleration library. We have Mellanox as the world's highest performance leader in high-performance networking and NVLink, which is a low-latency fabric that communicates using memory references. Additionally, we have InfiniBand and Bluefield 3, which are running at incredible line rates. At Computex, we are announcing a brand new type of Ethernet to connect our AI factory to the computing fabric. All of these components make it possible for us to integrate our computing platform into any data center in the world, from cloud, on-prem, and out to the edge to 5G. Cohen & Company analyst Matt Ramsey inquired, have we seen progress in terms of the mix of hyperscale customers buying for their own first-party internal workloads, third-party customers, and DGX cloud offerings since launching it a few months ago? Jensen Huang replied, I am leveraging NVIDIA's stack to partner with cloud service providers, CSPs, to create the highest performing infrastructure. We are working together to create new applications and markets, such as Omniverse Cloud and Azure Cloud. Customers have access to the data, services, security, and more offered by CSPs. Our goal is to drive architecture, partner deeply, and provide customers with the flexibility to run NVIDIA everywhere, including on-prem, for a win-win situation. Our partnership with the 3 CSPs has been incredibly successful. Jensen Huang replied, the computer industry is undergoing 2 simultaneous transitions, accelerated computing and generative AI. NVIDIA pioneered accelerated computing, a full-stack and data center scale approach, as the best path forward for the $1 trillion installed in the global data center infrastructure. Companies are racing to deploy this for the generative AI era, and over the next decade, most of the world's data centers will be accelerated. NVIDIA is significantly increasing their supply to meet the demand. Generative AI models can generate content with models to fine-tune, guardrail, and align to guiding principles while also being grounded to facts. We are building platforms for cloud service providers and large enterprises, including H100.